Including collaboration units, 7 Deadly Sins Grand Cross has well over 200 units at this point. All of these units are incredibly diverse, with no 2 units having quite the same kit. And yet, despite this, there are a number of story characters that have appeared but have never been made into actual units. Why is that? And will we ever see them? In this video, I'd like to explore 5 units we will probably never see in Grand Cross and, moreover, why I think we won't see them in the game. As always, there's a few caveats to this list. Or, well, to this entire video. I started writing the script, and the very next day, I got word that Netmarble was asking players which characters they wanted added to the game. Well, crap. So, time to date the video and show everyone how far in advance I bank these. I'm recording this audio on March 1st. This will probably go up maybe mid-April? We'll see. Unless I have to bump it for whatever reason. But think of it more as, why haven't we seen these units in the game so far? In any case, these are all story characters. They all appeared in the manga and were definitely in the anime, and therefore, the game. Would I mind seeing them? Of course not. The more the merrier. I even think they should consider releasing new R and SR units, but that's just me. Do I think they're going to release them? Well, maybe 1 or 2 eventually, depending on how serious they are about that social media stuff. So, let's get started, shall we? Number 5, Nerobasta. She's number 5 because, let's face it, if anyone's going to get implemented via a call to arms over social media, it's going to be her. We need more goddess units in the game to diversify the teams a bit more. Okay, yes, and she has big boobs. She's making this video very easy for me to make a clickbait thumbnail for. I'm honestly a little surprised we didn't see her during the whole flashback arc. In terms of getting a unit, I mean. We got Gerhard, but we didn't get Nerobasta. Granted, fairies also need support, but I kinda thought Nerobasta would have gotten a unit just because it's easy money for them. They could make like 3 different booba outfits and they'd be set. I mean, honestly, give waifu costumes with boob windows. Profit. Look, I wouldn't have faulted them for it. But they didn't. The reason she ranks on this list is her time has come and gone. She may be popular due to her, assets, but she's played her role in the story. With that said, Denzel's time also came and went, and he still came out even after his part in the story was done. So, who knows? Like I said, if anyone's going to come out that's on this list, it's probably her. Number 4, full-size Fraudren, aka Demon Fraudren. We have our Fraudrens, but what about the demon form? Granted, we're well past his story content, though that could be said about any character on this list, and we've seen how that's gone in-game. But for the longest time, demons were in desperate need of support, and Fraudren could have given that. In his true demon form, he could have provided a lot of interesting opportunities. He wouldn't even need to be that big since we already have the giants. This isn't a transforming unit, it's just a big demon. And to be honest, I don't know. It could be a case of them not being sure if anyone would actually pull for him or what. That's something they have to take into account when making these units. Will anyone pull? I briefly considered if there would be an issue with them being able to make cosmetics for him, but then I remembered some of the other units and yeah, whatever. And they could give him a party hat or something. I think a good solution would be if they were to introduce more R and SR units. We have an SR Diane who's a giant, why not a Fraudren? I'd love an excuse to use more of those pendants instead of hoarding them until festivals when I can trade them in for better stuff. Number 3, Ro. Ro is boring and no one actually wants him, and we already get his dog form, which is so much cooler. Why would anyone want Ro? Next! Okay, seriously though. And I'm talking about Ro as in R-O-U, not R-H-O. Not my Ro, but the other one, the ugly one. Okay, but seriously, yes, they have a model, and yes, they have moves for him and animations, but he's just such a meh character. Sure, he has the star-crossed lovers thing with Gloxinia's sister, but that doesn't have the same impact as the others on this list. I mean, Fraudren is basically the main villain of the first 2 seasons of the anime, but he's also shockingly sympathetic. Nerobasta gives us what I feel is the best introduction to the goddesses ever by promptly booking it upon being told she was called forth to fight demons. Nerobasta really helps us see the shades of gray in these factions. Also, she's hilarious. But Ro is just sort of there. He suffers from the fact that he's a flashback character that's seen through the eyes of King and Deanne. We think he's a good guy. He has some chemistry with Gerhard. And then, surprise! He's actually going to murder everyone until he has second thoughts. Ro's purpose in the plot is fine. He's there to show just how complicated the dynamics are between the races. But as a unit, I just don't think he's there. Again, here's another one that could be an interesting new R or SR unit. I wouldn't shell out to pull on him, but I would be interested in upgrading him and messing around with him if he were a lower grade. I don't think they'll put him out at this point though, since the dude's basically died twice. Maybe if, or rather, when his next incarnation shows up in Far Nights of Apocalypse. Maybe then we'll get him. Number 2. Grey Road. God, I wish they'd release Grey Road. They could do so many funny cosmetics. It would be hilarious. I think that's kind of a big reason why they haven't released them though. Any non-human shaped unit has either been given out for free or is understood to be a meme. And that's hard to do when a character comes with a commandment which already has a precedent in the game. I feel like Grey Road's this character where, well, they don't really know what to do with them. I mean, I'm struggling to come up with things to say about Grey Road as I write this script. I can't even think of anything as I'm recording and trying to put in some freewheeling bits. At the end of the day, there's really not much to them. Even with the randos in the R and SR pool, you get an idea for their feelings, their motivations, what makes them tick. I think Jude is lame as hell, but he established him well in his one episode. But Grey Road is there to be Fraudren's muscle, or rather, to make sure no one else uses muscle against him. I do like how they implement Grey Road's commandment in story battles. It's a genuine threat, and makes you think about who you're going to use to murk them. I don't know if they'd let that fly in PvP though. We've got enough going on with the Fraudren comps. You know, those Fraudren comps.
You know who you are.
Number 1. Original Goather. Papa Goather. Wheelchair Goather. The OG Big Daddy. I went back and forth on this list and debated swapping him with Grey Road several times. The biggest reason why I don't think they'll put him in is because, like nearly everyone else on this list, his time has passed. And I guess it's more thinking of it character-wise. This Goather has always been the man behind the curtain. He's never on the field. Not until the big reveal towards the end of King and Deanne's past arc. His presence gives us more insight into how our Goather ticks and the effect that he had on his character. He's an ideal, an influence. He's the one that ended the Holy War through trickery, not with brute force or anything. But Gacha don't care about character motivations. They do have a model for him, and he has been featured in battle. So, unlike anyone on this list, there has always been the genuine possibility for his release. But when we've got the upcoming arcs with characters like Gelda, please adapt Vampires of Edinburgh, please adapt Vampires of Edinburgh, please adapt Vampires of Edinburgh, please adapt it, please, 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 please. And more Ragnarok stuff to come, what place does this Goather have in terms of release at this point? It's a shame though. This Goather has a commandment, so it'd be interesting to see how that played out in the game. I really like what they've done in terms of implementing the other commandments, particularly Esterosa's and Galen's. And our honorable mention? Wild. I want Wild, and Wild is an honorable mention because I can absolutely see Netmarble throwing more pigs at us for free, because they can. But if they're getting to the 4 Nights of the Apocalypse content soon, there's another animal mascot they could throw at us for free, so this is a case of Wild's time having possibly already passed. If we don't get him at some point this year, we probably won't at all. And listen, I would be sad. I would be sad because I want to dress my purple pig up. I want to see him sitting at tables in the knighthood. I want it. With all of that said, honestly, looking at this list, Netmarble has models for most of these characters already. It wouldn't take much to implement them as units. It's just a matter of if they decide to. They are a business after all, and they do have to take that stuff into account. Is there anyone on this list that you'd like to see in the game? Or maybe there's someone else that I missed? Let me know in the comments. And I'm talking about Ro as in R-O-W. Oh my god. Oh my god. I have a script.